Oh, that's really nice. The dandelion photo that you took, that's really pretty.
Well, look how
Wow.
camera stuff.
That is amazing.
Yeah, Mom and I have been sending flower pictures to each other. That's what you do when you're all... when women age, we just start exchanging pictures of flowers.
You just been sending pictures
She's
of
like,
flowers.
look at this peony. I'm like, check out this dandelion. Love you, Mom. She's like, not as beautiful as you. And I'm like, ditto.
You know that kinship you feel when someone gets the obscure movie quote you tossed out in a conversation?
Oh, hi, ma'am. Hyper on too.
Welcome to Such a Good One, a podcast where two siblings bond over their unabashed love for the movies they grew up on. I'm Josh Cook.
And I'm Jessi Cook.
Come digress with us.
I saw someone had a comment the other day. There's a bird that's called like a
Titmouse.
right, but there's like a red maybe there's like a red-breasted titmouse or something.
Can I just get credit for knowing what you were gonna say?
I was gonna say it because I think if anyone doesn't know birds says, isn't there a bird? They go titmouse. It's pretty.
There are some like
pretty clear that's the one you're talking
that's not
about.
the only one that's got a really well. There's the blue-footed booby, which is one of my favorites.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go with that one because that'll be easy. Someone had a comment the other day, and it was like, it's crazy how as you age, being into birds sneaks up on you. Like one day you're just walking around like, not caring about birds, and then one day you walk by a window and you're like, oh, whoa, is that what did you call it? Big blue? What did you call it?
There's literally no way you would see that, but it's like a tufted titmouse or something like that.
Oh, is that a tufted? Boy, oh my God, is that a tufted titmouse? It's like all of a sudden you're in.
That is absolutely accurate.
Can I just say that I just absolutely ruined that joke, and I want to apologize to whoever wrote it because I forgot the name of the bird in the middle of it, and
you know what that reminds me
I
of?
feel bad.
Well, that reminds me of when we were driving one day. I forget what we were doing, and you were like, you should have a nature show where you just shout out things you see from the car window. And I noticed something really funny.
That's a good idea.
Because I'm not the only one. Turns out John does the same thing. So the other day we were driving, and he goes, look at this. It's a squirrel. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, I love it. You know what? I absolutely can see that. I can absolutely see that. It's just a fixed camera and the two of you just driving. Just like, oh, dog. There's a house.
Bunny.
Look at that.
Bunny.
Look at that flower. Let me text
Bunny.
Mom.
Basically.
Bunny.
I went to California for that solo road trip was probably the best moment of my entire life. And by moment, I mean a week.
Oh.
I have 3,000 pictures from that trip by myself. And I would venture to guess 2,000 are just flowers.
But are you going, here's the thing though, are you going to do anything with them ever? They're just going to sit in your phone.
You know what I'd love? Just not they're beautiful. I'm just, what am I going to print them? Like, you know what the funny thing is, this is a little dark, but if you don't have kids, which I'm very happy with, what do you do with like albums you make? It's just for you. Like John doesn't care about pictures.
Albums we make? What do you
like,
mean?
What if I made a cool album with these neat pictures? It's sort of like, who cares? It's going in the dumpster one day. I don't have kids. They're going to be like, this is my mom's album of flowers. Flowers. No one cares. No. Nobody cares.
Well, this is the truth of everything. Everything's going in the dumpster one day.
Well, sure, but Keelan likes your stuff. And you.
Maybe.
No one's going to care about my stuff unless I'm really nice to like...
Ooh, you got to get cracking.
Right. So I have to...
You better get cracking on that.
I have to endear myself to some of my niece and some of my friends' kids. I'm behind.
You are starting behind.
Although I got to tell you something. I do have a couple of friends and they have 3 kids. They call me Aunt Jessi. They love me. So John and I are...
I'm getting a nice kind of comedy or maybe psychological thriller vibe where like the aunt comes in and like is trying to basically take over the kids and just kind of oust.
I just want to make sure
parents.
someone's going to help me when I'm very old.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone I know will be dead. John will be dead for sure. I mean,
Can I just say
all
something?
things considered. Hey?
This is a lovely transition into Arthur and Hobson.
By the way, wait.
BTWs.
Oh, yeah. But...
Did you say how I said W's instead of dubs?
Is that a thing that people say?
Probably like 10, 15 years ago. Stupid people.
That's funny. Wait, today I said
That's why I'm saying it now. I'm stupid and late.
Oh, I said something today to the kids, and I'm like, is that still a thing? And they're like, I think that went away in the 90s. And I was like, I think it went away last week.
What did you say?
So you need to get fresh.
Are things hip?
No,
Are things
it was,
hip out there?
I forget. Hip. John said, you're not, I won't say the movie. He's like, you're not doing that again, are you? And I said, no, we're doing Arthur. He goes, I like Arthur.
What? John liked Arthur?
No, listen, it's like an animal in the wild. You can't let it know. You can't let it feel startled. So I said, oh my God, well,
Oh,
I didn't know
right.
you like that movie.
Because that's like what you were saying on the other thing about mom and dad, like in the wild, like you start singing, and they're like, oh.
You can't
So if John's like, I like that movie, and you're like, oh.
You just keep it really, I was like, oh, that's what I didn't think you would have seen that. And you're like, oh yeah, that's funny. That's a good guy. I'm like, Dudley Moore is like British. He's funny. I was like,
when you didn't show it to him?
No, he's seen it on his own.
He saw it on his own in the wild?
He saw it on his own in whatever his natural habitat was at the time.
I feel like my t-shirt's a little, I was sitting in a way that was making it tight. And I wasn't a fan.
I feel good that I didn't notice that. I'm also sweating profusely. I hope you understand.
I don't know why.
My little mustache area is sweating.
Oh, dear.
You know what's really sad?
No.
I once said that I had a little bit of an insecurity because I have a little shadow here, and I said I look like Gomez Adams. And some fool went, oh, yeah. I can look back now. At the time, I was not Oh, by the way, this is okay. My last non sequitur.
Oh, I love it.
So
Don't lie.
I know.
That's a filthy lie.
I said the other day I was getting a little sassy with the kids in some vocab, and I was like, I was nonplussed.
Oh.
And they were like, what is that? And I was like, well, and I gave them this kind of scenario because I like them to figure it out. And then while they were discussing, I looked it up. Or someone said they Googled it while I was talking, and they explained it. And I'm like, exactly. And in my head, I was like, I've been using nonplussed wrong for at least
Wait, what does it mean?
I thought nonplussed was like, I am nonplussed. Like this is not
happy with you or something.
No, it's like surprise. It's like a surprise.
Nonplussed is.
I don't have the full definition, but I knew in that moment what I was saying was not correct. Now, usually I fall on my sword because I like them to see that mistakes are okay. But that time I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to keep moving forward.
Yeah. It's funny. That happens all the time with Keelan because we do crossword puzzles and connections, the New York Times games in the morning when she wakes up.
Love connections.
And all the time she's like, what does that mean? And I find constantly, it's like that thing, what do they call it? An explanatory understanding, where it's like you understand something. Like I know what these things mean generally, but if someone asks you to explain it, I'm just like, well, it's that when you well, and I look things up and I don't, and it's I'm constantly every day realizing like just I don't understand language apparently.
No, it's really fun. That's great for me in school because we do a bunch of stuff about right brain, left brain, whatever. The idea of like how quickly you can recall something. But I love to do, I call it, for some reason, I think you know this, I express things through my face. I can't help it. Yeah. That's why I get in trouble a lot at work.
Yeah. We're very expressive, both of us.
Yeah. So I kind of informally call it vocab charades because they'll be like, what does integrity mean? And I'm like, integrity's like, yeah.
Vocab charades. That's
and
good.
They're like, but it's funny because I'll be like, let's just say they're like integrity. And I'm like, okay, so you're doing some work and you're like, yes, stand by. And they're like, so you're like do the right thing. Like you're standing by your stuff. I'm like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I like it. Like whatever the word is.
Vocab charades.
It's really cool though when I realize I don't actually totally know what the word means. And I'm like, what do you think?
That's always a good teacher move. What do you think?
It's a solid move.
What do you think? Can I tell you something that I figured that I found? I was going back to the words for a second.
My mustache is sweating.
Do you know what vomitorium is?
No, Josh, I don't.
Do you? Were you there for that?
I was there for that conversation. Okay, I thought you were like doing a thing. Yes, I know what it is.
I didn't remember you were there for that.
But you know who doesn't probably know?
What?
Other people listening.
I always thought, because you always hear the Roman vomitorium, and for some reason you would think, oh, it's a room that in Romans would eat and drink and then go throw up and purge or whatever. Like that's how it was always for some reason, that's in my mind.
That's twice now for some reason. Do you know why it's for some reason? Because it's called a vomitorium. Of course you would think that.
Yes, one would think that, but it's not. That's not what it means. It just basically means the entrance and exit of a large theater or stadium.
Oh, you know what's great?
Because the crowds would spew forth, hence the vomitorium.
So deep. Next time we're watching a sports game, I don't usually know what's happening. I'll just be like, look at them coming out of this vomitorium.
You don't know what's happening in a sports game?
They play sports with balls. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if that's my brain or what. When someone explains a sports game to me, I'm like, like I can't follow it. I ran the wrong way in baseball. I was traumatized. I got yelled at. I cried in the car when Dad drew the diagram with the bases.
Wait, what happened?
I was really bad at baseball. I was on the Burroughs team, and also I was the only girl, and the coach, his nipples were always showing, which I thought was very strange.
Oh, what?
I don't know. I just remember that. But I couldn't play. I was horrible. I hit the ball and I ran to third base.
That's right. You ran to third base. I do remember that
But I remember
story.
distinctly, and I remember it like I'm looking in the car at Dad and I. Like, I don't remember it like
it's like
sitting
it's
there.
like your perspective.
I'm watching
You're there back
and
in
I
time.
remember sitting next to him like, and he's like, it's very simple. You hit the ball and you go to first, second, third. Home is back to where I'm like.
in your memory of this, though,
Yeah.
was he like mean about it?
He was intense. It
was
was very.
intense.
It was intense for me because I just didn't care and I didn't understand.
Why were you doing it? Did they make you do it?
I don't know.
Was it because I play baseball and you were doing it?
Maybe I'm not as athletic as you at all. But I also, as an adult, to be social, joined a softball team.
Oh.
But it didn't go well.
Okay.
I was very bad. And apparently Dad came one day to watch, which I asked him not to do.
Oh, boy.
And he said, you're really bad. And I said, I know. You're not really revealing anything with that. But thanks.
Did he actually say you were really bad?
He goes, usually you need to run toward the ball. I was like, yeah, I know that. But there were other things to look at.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he told me I was really bad.
That is very
It
funny.
is funny. Isn't that funny?
It is funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, that's funny. I had earlier said
Yeah.
that we had a lovely transition into Arthur and Hobson.
Oh, with death.
We don't have that anymore now, but I'm still going to wrangle it back because we're talking about Arthur, 1981. Speaking of the music of this, of course, we have the infamous Christopher Cross.
Oh.
No, Christopher Cross.
What?
He's the singer.
But there's another song.
No.
There's another Burt
Well, Burt Bacharach also, he did the score.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Burt Bacharach co-wrote If You Get Lost, or Arthur's theme, which is called, what's the subtitle? It's Arthur's theme.
Between the moon and New York City.
And then that was also written by one or two other people, including Liza Minnelli's husband at the time.
Which one was that?
I don't remember his name right now.
Michael Jackson?
I'll find it.
They weren't married. They were just buddies, right?
I don't know anything of what you're talking about.
You know what? I'm not sure I do either. But wait. Okay, go.
But yeah, interesting about that line. Apparently, her husband, according to some trivia that I found and was reading, her husband, Alan something, I think his name was, he only contributed one thing to that song, and that, Peter Allen is his name. One thing to that song, and it's the line, If You Get Lost Between the Moon and New York City, because he was in a holding pattern on a plane at night in New York, they were flying around and around in a holding pattern, and he wrote the line, If You Get Lost Between the Moon and New York City.
Wow. I just figured it had something to do with that line when Liza Minnelli is telling him that when she was little, she thought the moon was following her. And that meant she was going to fall in love or something. And then you hear her whisper on the way when he runs into the diner, they're running out, and she's like, Arthur, guess what? Last night I could swear the moon was following me. I just figured it was related to that.
Maybe.
Other reference.
You know what's funny? I just watched it last night and I didn't hear that line.
It's a whispered line on the way out.
I missed it. That song won the Oscar.
Sinking.
That song won the Oscar.
It did. It should have. It's cute. The only thing. Oh no, actually, you know what? It's cute. That's it. I didn't know that there was a section that says Arthur he does as he pleases.
Well, it's because it was written for the movie.
I know, but I didn't know that. And I didn't. I guess they play it in the movie, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing it.
It's the whole beginning.
Girl, girls. Hello, girls.
But yeah, as we were saying, so this is Arthur from 1981, starring
Beautiful.
the incredible Dudley Moore, the amazing Liza Minnelli, and I meant to look up
Hobson.
I meant to look up John Gielgud as to why he was in this movie.
Who's John Gielgud?
Hobson.
What do you mean? Why?
Well, because I know him as a legendary theater actor, but I guess he has been in a bunch of movies too. Because I remember just even last night being like, how did they get him to do this? And then I looked it up, and apparently he was not the first choice, and I guess it was Dudley Moore. It was either David Niven they were looking at, or
which one is David Niven?
Yeah, David Nivens, or somebody else. There were two other people they were looking at, and I guess Dudley Moore convinced him or they somehow convinced him to do it. And apparently he didn't want to do it, but then eventually they offered him so much money that he was like, "All right, I guess I have to." And then
David Niven.
And then
would have been a wrong choice. For
no,
that.
I know. Well, he's also
so good,
Gielgud won the Oscar for this.
Oh, I did not.
Won
Did
Best
Dudley
Supporting-
Moore win an Oscar?
No, but he was not. This movie was nominated for like everything: best screenplay, best. I think.
Oh, I thought he was.
Actually, wait, let me see
I
what
would
these
think
were.
that
Yeah.
Dudley Moore. Was he at least nominated? Because it was.
Yeah, let me tell you.
fabulous.
So it was. So Gielgud won Best Supporting Actor.
Hobson, who plays his very upright
Oh wait, I'm in the wrong
British.
place. I'm in the wrong place.
Not
here.
even just. It's not. He's not a servant. He's his what? His. God, what would he? He's almost like his
says,
adult au pair.
He says in that scene, he says,
I'm
in
just
the
a
scene,
servant.
Just a servant.
But it's sort of said tongue in cheek because he's really the father figure. I mean,
Oh, that
and
line.
incidentally, I love you.
That line at the end that he says is so beautiful, which
You're a good
we'll
son.
get to.
Oh.
Well, there you go. I
I'm
guess we just,
so-
we're
I
just
said it.
going ahead. Why don't we go backwards?
It's such. This is okay. One of the things I like the most
Where
about
is
this
this
movie
thing?
is
Yes.
this kind of. I just made this analogy on that way over. It's hilarious and ridiculous, not slapstick, but just over the top. But also, there's such a genuine, loving, just I don't know, a heartfelt storyline, and it reminds me of how Robin Williams was hysterical. But like in a film like Good Will Hunting, he just blew your heart out of your chest.
Yeah.
And it gives me that vibe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sinking or the mic is sinking.
It's not the mic.
I'm sinking.
You have a spatial relation issue.
Do you know that's a thing?
In
actually
general.
related.
So it won, but he won Best Supporting Actor for
Yeah.
that. But won Best Original Song. It was Dudley Moore was nominated, and it was nominated for Best Screenplay. Before we kind of get into it, which is like a really brief synopsis of it, which is basically Dudley Moore plays Arthur. For anyone who doesn't know this,
Multi-millionaire.
He doesn't do a thing.
Like, how does it feel to have all that money? Feels great.
Yeah,
A stupid question.
exactly. He's never done anything his entire life. He's in what? I don't know. He's probably in
There's never been a working class buck.
what is he in his late 30s or early
There
40s in
never
this
will
movie?
be.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's never lifted a
probably.
finger. He's never done anything. He's a giant. He's a man child. He just gets constantly drunk and he's just
Adorable.
enjoying life. And he is being forced by his wealthy father and grandmother to marry another wealthy woman. Like,
Susan.
What do they call that? It's a marriage of
Well, it's not
not
arranged
convenience.
marriage.
Yeah, they're making an arranged
It's a
marriage for him.
status
They
thing.
want
Yes, yeah.
the families want to join
It's
families.
like the merger. It's like in
It's,
Sabrina.
it's a
They
family
want
merger.
It's a family
and they basically
merger.
say like, you're going to marry this girl or
You're such
you don't
an
get any
asshole.
money. And then the money he
Yes.
doesn't get is $750 million, which apparently adjusted to today is $2.1 billion. He's going to marry this woman
Susan.
for the money. Susan Johnson.
Susan Johnson. Oh,
He's
that's
gonna,
good.
He's going to marry her for the money, but then right that day he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to marry her, and then he doesn't do it for the money. Right that day he sees Liza Minnelli's character, and he meets her and falls in love with her, and so he's got to try to find a way to like choose. Does he choose the money or does he choose her? So that's sort of the general setup of the movie. And then there's also Hobson, who is
Yep.
who is John Gielgud, is an incredible, legendary British theater actor who I guess has done lots of film, but he is Arthur's caretaker. Basically, he's your classic type of butler.
He's like an
sort
adult
of,
au pair.
but he is an adult au pair, and he has the greatest lines in this movie, and I was going through trying to write. I usually go through and I write some notes down, and I just found myself just writing every line, and I kind of gave up.
A list of his.
I just kind of gave up. I was like, these are all.
God.
His delivery is insane in all of them, and apparently, what I wanted to say, trivia stuff also, was that apparently Dudley Moore was just he must have been just like throwing out like the whole moose scene. Apparently was just him just riffing.
What is the rest of this movie?
Apparently he was just riffing, and when Mr. Johnson goes, forget the moose.
Why don't you forget the moose?
Apparently, like according to the one or two trivia things I read, Dudley Moore was like the whole crew was cracking up. He was going, and finally the guy was like, enough with the moose.
Shut up.
And you can see Dudley Moore goes, like that, and apparently
I like when he looks at the moose though when he says that.
I know.
Why don't you forget the moose for a moment? He goes.
He does look at it.
For a beat. And then
My favorite moose line is, you must have hated this moose. It's such a great line. But anyway, so wait, I got off on the trivia thing again. There was something I was going to say about, Gielgud apparently didn't like the script. And according to Liza Minnelli, and again, this is one or two sources I was reading trivia-wise, they seem to corroborate. She said that he basically was like, he didn't really get it. And at every scene, he was always like, did I just say something funny? Which I don't believe at all because he's so good. But I think it's a funny idea that John Gielgud was just like, what? But he plays everything so exquisitely straight in this movie that like you maybe could even believe that he just didn't know. But oh my gosh, the way he's so good.
The movie is worth watching. First of all, they're all brilliant. But for Dudley Moore's absolute hilarity, Liza Minnelli's just sassy quality, and then the drastic contrast of Hobson, who is just like,
oh my gosh.
But wait, this is one of my two favorite fruit references. So he says,
oh, I didn't know there was a list of fruit references that you enjoyed.
There's Mrs. Doubtfire when she hits him with the lime in the back of the head. Oh, I saw it. It's a drive-by fruiting. I don't know if that's actually what was said. And then Hobson is like, Arthur, I see no reason in prolonging this conversation unless you're planning to knock over a fruit stand later in the afternoon.
Yes.
Now, I don't do... So here's my thing. I love these quotations.
Yes.
I am not an actor, and I can't do the accent, so I almost feel like I need to ask you to read from my list.
Fair enough. But first, I want to read a little bit of this review for you.
Hold on.
This one is
ready.
This one is from Roger Ebert. January 1st, 1981.
Huh.
Only someone with a heart of stone could fail to love a drunk like Arthur Bach.
Yes.
Who spends his wasted days in a poignant search for someone who will love him, will care for him, will inflame his passions, and my phone.
Please let it stay as good as this.
My phone did something crazy and soothe his pain. Oh, I know, because I have to put it in this view because this webpage can continually reboots.
Oh, is the internet upsetting you, old man?
Super annoying.
Freaking fossil.
There we go. Arthur is such a servant of humanity that he even dedicates himself to thinking up new one-liners and holding them in reserve, lest he be unprepared if someone walks into his life and needs a laugh quick. Played by Dudley Moore, he's the alcoholic hero of Arthur, comedy about a man who is worth $750 million and who would never think of trying to buy anyone's love with his money.
I'm waiting for the but, and I'm scared. Is it all good? It should be all good.
It is all good because every review that I saw was all good.
It's hysterical. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it.
What's interesting, so they talk about Hobson and Butler. So Dudley Moore became a star, of course, with 10.
No, that's one we saw a little later, but that's that's got to be Dad's favorite, right?
Yeah, that's definitely in the fabric
when
of the
he
family.
falls down that hill.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's see. Apart from Moore, the treasure of Arthur is in his many supporting performances, especially Gielgud. Although everyone in this movie has great moments, you might be tempted to think that Arthur would be a bore because it is about a drunk who is always trying to tell you stories. You would be right if Arthur were a party and you were attending it. But Arthur is a movie, and so its drunk, unlike real drunks, is more entertaining, more witty, more human, more poignant than you are. He embodies, in fact, all the wonderful human qualities that drunks fondly mistakenly believe the booze brings out in them.
Oh, wait. This reminds me of the line when she's talking. They're in the restaurant, and he's sitting with Susan, and he's on this very drunk date, and I forget what she says to me. He goes, "Susan, you're such an." And he goes, "This is who I am."
And she just sits and takes it. She's like, "I love you, Arthur."
It's like, not everybody who drinks is a poet.
Yeah.
Some of us drink because we're not poets.
Yeah. What's funny about all these reviews, and I love this movie so much, but when I'm watching it last night, I have to say, I'm surprised at how good some of the reviews are, because story-wise, this movie is bizarre to me. Because if you think about it, really, like, he's a guy, he's just he's just a man-child who has everything in the world, and there's that great scene where Gielgud slaps somebody. He's like, you selfish little brat, or whatever. What does he say? You spoiled little
brat. You have everything.
You have everything,
haven't
enough.
you?
Yeah.
Haven't you? Is that enough?
But anyway.
You feel unloved, Arthur. Welcome to the world. Everybody is unloved. And incidentally, I love you. Okay.
It's about this guy who you do love. He's got everything in the world. He sees Liza Minnelli literally once, and then he's like, "I'm in love with you."
P.S. Hold on.
But like, do you see why that's kind of crazy though?
Sure. But as a woman, I have to say, this is going to sound simple, but women in the world, if you're ever sick of a man saying, "I don't really like short hair," he sees Liza Minnelli in her quirky, delicious, short hair, attitude kicking, like, "I don't give a Charles. I'll steal this tie if I want to. And I'm going to lie about it." And he's like, "Who is that?" Amazing.
I wrote a note to myself that when she appears, she's wearing like a bright yellow jacket, like
she's
red
a
cowboy
hot mess,
hat, all stuff.
and I was
like,
here for it.
And I was like
a red plastic. It's like, it's not
she
even. She
has an insane outfit on. I was like, oh, this is basically Jessi's personality.
Oh God. I love
like her.
I'll be with you in a minute.
Yeah.
Like, she's just in your face. I love when
she's amazing. Yeah.
She's like, something about your wife, and he's like, "I'm not married," and she goes, hits the side of the bus like,
yeah. Oh yeah, it's
555.
No.
4, whatever her number is.
Is this also where should I explain to you that she is in Arrested Development, the funniest show ever that you say you don't like for some insane reason that I can't possibly understand?
Listen, it's not that I don't like it. I'll tell you
what.
Should
I bring that up?
I didn't watch Schitt's Creek forever because I know you're going to hate this, and everyone listening.
Don't even say it.
No, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. I don't tend to like things that are... what would you call that? Like, made to be funny, like kind of like
comedy?
No, like the whole mockumentary vibe, like that kind of like like I like things that are more.
Neither of those are mockumentaries.
I don't know, but I watched Schitt's Creek and I loved it.
Don't.
So I've watched a few episodes of Arrested Development. I couldn't get through it. I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I could keep going. I know. You and I have very different tastes.
This is real.
Everything. We have some baseline. We have baseline things in common.
It's real hard for me.
Oh my goodness.
It's hard because also Liza Minnelli. That was my bridge. I just wanted to use Liza Minnelli as a way to stick the Arrested Development knife into you a little bit because
I think I saw the one with her or the ones with her in it because I've seen
many.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway. You're a disappointment.
I know. When can we start talking about the scenes?
What I was saying though, it's about this is that this story makes no sense. He sees her, he falls like instantly, like they have a connection or something. That's fine, and then it's like he doesn't want to marry Susan. So he's gonna blow up his life, whatever. And then the grandmother at the end like has that whole thing where she, he ends up getting the money. He gets it all. There's no like really lesson learned except that he kind of like.
I think so.
He kind of gave. He followed his heart and he's rewarded for it. And maybe that's why people like it. It's sort of fairy tale-ish in that way, I guess.
I think people like it because he's really freaking funny.
Look, I love the movie. Like, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying, watching it, I was like, this is interesting because it's like, it doesn't really follow the pattern of a normal movie, of the movies that we've come to like know, or where it's like, oh, there's a lesson, he's got to face something and there's a lesson learned and he's better for it. And it's like, that sort of is what happens.
Yeah,
and then they give him all the money at the end anyway.
But he says,
and you're like, oh, well,
but he calls the bluff, and he does do that, and he's like, I've had money my whole life.
I know,
like,
and that's the thing is like the movie. If she's like, I'll never offer this to you again, Arthur, and then if she drives off and then they hug each other or whatever, like that's the way that movie normally ends. But I like this movie more. I
love that he's like,
because he goes, I didn't. He's like, well, I took the money. I'm not crazy.
I love that. She's like,
so
no, I invited her over for a tuna fish sandwich. Oh, okay. I took the money. I'm not.
Yeah, I took the money. I took the money. I'm not crazy.
She's
And
like,
then and then the thing that you said earlier was like, how's it having all that money? He's like, it's great. And it's like, of course it is. Like,
Who's going to turn down $750 million when you also get the woman
and
you
so
love?
I think they made totally the right choice. It's great. And I think that's why this movie becomes.
They don't make it into this big, like...
No.
Guess
But they would.
what?
I feel like they would now. Actually, do you know? Did they do that in the remake? Do you know?
I didn't. I couldn't bear to see.
I would
it.
never
And now
watch it.
I
Can't do it.
don't know that I think he's not funny. I just can't do it.
You just can't. Why would you? Why would you
It's
ever
beautiful.
remake that?
Why
movie?
would you mess with it?
And so, but the whole
I
thing,
don't-
is, I think that it would be that now. It would be like a kind of a emotional thing, and I kind of love that it just becomes a wish fulfillment story. You know what I mean? Like people are just like, yeah, oh, I want that money and love. Oh, he's got it all.
It's
You know?
hysterical.
Someone has it all. You root for him still, and that's kind of amazing. Anyway, I think. That
And
was
a very quick
fascinating.
note on a remake. I'm trying to think now, and I'm not going to keep going on what I love, but I will say my heart was shattered watching the remake of The Goodbye Girl, starring Patricia Heaton and I think Jeff Daniels. And I love Jeff Daniels. I love that scene in Speed when his mouth twitches before the bomb goes off. Beautiful.
Okay.
But that remake hurt. And you know what it reminds me of? If I had auditioned for Barefoot in the Park, you can't improve on what Jane Fonda did. So it's like that's what actors do face, I think, when you're doing like a role where you're either filling a role that's been filled, or you are, I don't know, you're like, how do I improve on this? I don't know how to make it different.
Well, you're not thinking about it, because you can't.
Really?
Well, because it's not like you're trying to look at someone's performance and improve. Actually, you know what's probably the most prominent
Because you either
example?
mimic or you try to take on a new...
Well, you know what one of the most prominent examples is, I think, in modern cinema?
What is it?
The Joker. Because you have Heath Ledger, who gives this phenomenal... Well, first of all, you have Jack
Very
Nicholson,
disturbing.
who is a one kind of Joker, right? Then you have Heath Ledger, and all of a sudden it becomes like an Oscar-winning role.
Yeah.
And then Joaquin Phoenix is like, yeah, I'll do that. And you're like, so you have these Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger,
so uncomfortable watching
and
that.
Joaquin Phoenix doing this role, and none of them, they're all doing very different things. And
That's such a character, though.
Jack Nicholson's is a huge character. Heath Ledger's is a completely different kind of character, and then Joaquin Phoenix is a very disturbing kind of different thing. But my point, so Heath Ledger's and Joaquin Phoenix are closer, right? But the point is, I don't think Joaquin Phoenix probably looked at that and it's like, how do I improve on what Heath did? It's like it's just a very It's just you take it and you kind of go, what can I do with it? What am I excited about in this? What can I do with it? And so I don't know. I'm sure that everyone loves The Goodbye Girl. I mean, again, you know. That's wait, I was going to say Neil Simon. That is Neil Simon. Am I right?
It's Neil Simon.
Okay, thank you.
David Gates with the Goodbye Girl song. Beautiful.
Okay.
All your life you waited.
Okay. So anyway, you asked me to just talk about the scenes. Let's talk about the scenes.
Yes, okay.
I'm
let's
ready.
talk about the scenes.
First of all, that laugh that he has is insane. It starts the movie. Oh, I can't do it. It's just this absolutely this. Yeah,
it's a little bit
how
like that.
He's driving a limousine through the city, and just like that song is playing, and like and he goes to those two hookers who are just like the most unimpressed hookers ever. Like they're just like staring at this rich guy and like, what are you doing?
My favorite line. What did you have in mind? VD, I'm really into penicillin. I love it.
Well, that was so crazy. I don't know what was written and what was not written, because Gielgud stuff is definitely written, and he has the best lines in the movie. But I've read a lot that Dudley Moore stuff was like him kind of off the cuff a lot of the time. So I'm so confused as to what is with the script and what is them.
Well, that's also a very good example of a line in a movie that I saw too young that I was like, had no idea what VD was.
VD. Yeah, right.
I'm like, VD penis what? Like I had no clue what it was, but I'm like, that's hysterical.
But someone laughed and he laughs constantly.
Where like my dad was like, there'll be a pop quiz later where I ask you what line dad quotes all the time
from this movie.
Yes,
there are a few.
That's
when we get to it.
But Gloria, the prostitute he picks up, is. I love when he's making all the jokes and they're quiet, and he says, "Has there been a death in your family? This is funny stuff here." And they're just like,
Well, they move on. They get to the Plaza, which again,
the Plaza Hotel. Is that where it was?
The Plaza Hotel. You got Arthur, Barefoot in the Park, Home Alone. Plaza's like the epicenter of
it is.
And that's why, like, whenever
funny?
I went to New York,
Maybe
like,
Ghostbusters should have been there as well, because it's
maybe it wasn't the second one.
Central. Oh, maybe. No, it was the museum, natural history or something.
I don't remember when
they were doing
the
the paintings. By the way, if I could do it over, do you know what I would do?
No.
I would restore antiquity situation paintings, because I have an unreal ability to match any color. That is like a weird skill that I have, and I feel like I would have been very good at restoring paintings. Moving on.
Okay. Noted.
I'm ready. I'm ready for my favorite quote in the restaurant. Okay, continue.
What's your favorite?
Okay.
I already wrote too many quotes, and this is like the third note that I have in the movie.
All right. Let me go. So wait, as we're going through, the movie, like you said, the movie opens, and then he picks up Gloria, the prostitute, and takes her to the plaza. Right.
Yeah.
So I love Uncle Pizza and Aunt Paul.
Yeah.
He sees this like rich uncle.
Oh, yeah.
And she's standing there with those magnificent
pants,
red hot pants.
Those pants are incredible. But yeah, he's fallen out of the. You get the sense. Here's where you get the sense that he's famous. He's like a well-known rich
socialite.
Drunk socialite. Like everyone knows this guy. He's making a fool of himself, and he does not care. He has no cares in the world. I was shocked at this when she said, they're sitting at the table and he asked about her. She goes,
"Oh no, that's my favorite part."
She goes, my mother left when I was 6, and he's like, "Oh," and she's like, "My father raped me when I was 12," and I was,
and
I was like, "Holy!"
But did you hear his response? That's. I wrote this on my favorite responses in a movie. My father raped me when I was 12. Son of a bitch! Don't they realize what they do to kids? Sorry.
Yeah, but I was still. Like, this is a movie from 1981, and I was like,
true.
"Whoa!"
I didn't really think about that.
Really, like, intense, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
That is.
This was super, and it's, by the way, it's like right out of the gate. It's like under 5 minutes of the movie. She says her father raped her when she was 12, and I was like, and then at one point he goes, "You have 6 relatively good years."
Oh, so you had 6,
and it's just like, it's so.
Oh my god!
Like, I was just like, wow, you and it is, and I've kind of. There's a weird thing. It's like obviously you couldn't get away with that now, but there's something that's oddly like, because they're obviously using that as like a punchline, and so part of it, it's weird looking at it now and being like, that's uncomfortable, but still, I don't know. There's something kind of, I don't know.
Refreshing.
It's just crazy the way that they, all the stuff that, I guess how far we've come.
Well,
in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have always felt that comedy has a safe space, and they should be able to say the things we don't want to say. But it is, and for better or for worse, probably for better, it is like society has turned up the fuzz button on the sensitivity. It's like, that's very bad.
I don't even want to get into that whole debate.
No,
oh God, now,
no.
But like, I will just say
we're
this.
already getting hate mail, and nothing was said.
I will just say that all I'm saying is that she said that, and I literally out loud I was like, "Whoa!" I was absolutely shocked by that.
Meanwhile, I'm like, that's my favorite part.
You're like, I love that part where she said that she was right. You're like, oh my gosh.
It didn't really occur to me. It just was.
I know. Well, that's exactly right.
She delivers it like,
well, because it's so deadpan.
She delivers it like, I don't really like shrimp. You're like, okay.
I know. But like, it is hilarious. Like, her delivery and the fact that what she's saying in the situation she's saying is very funny. It's just only with like kind of eyes now where you're kind of like, oh, that's intense.
You're like, wow, that was very rapey.
Super intense. But so they have this dinner. He embarrasses himself in front of the relatives. He goes home with her, and then we meet Hobson, who is one of the best movie characters. I'm so glad that he won the Oscar for this. It is so well deserved.
You know what? I bet you anything Dudley Moore was like just as happy that he won that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he knew it was deserved.
Gielgud, I just can't. it's hard to express, and this is I kind of gave up. Honestly, I'm just gonna have to rely on you for a lot of things because he has his lines like you can't write. There's every single line this guy delivers is absolutely perfect, and one of the ones and Dad is this the one he quotes all the time. One of them is, "You obviously have a wonderful economy of words. I await your next syllable with great eagerness."
And Dad always goes eagerness.
Yes. And that's one. That was the one I'm thinking of. Is there another one?
No. Yes, there is. But
this is a robe. Please put it on.
I love it. Good morning. Hi.
Oh, I know what it is.
Hi.
I know what it is.
The hand.
No, the one he quotes all the time. I'll alert the media.
No, that's not it.
That is it.
No,
he
I wrote
that
I
all
wrote.
the time.
I wrote. I'll alert the media. I love that. Would you like to run my? I'm going to take a bath. That's the thing that everybody says. It's a cliche, but it's the easiest. That's
and there was another one.
Fruit.
There's another low-hanging fruit. It's what I live for.
It's what I live for. I love it. Would you like me to come in there and wash your toys?
It's funny too because like that I forgot about that because you see it's a rare thing where you see Hobson like alone.
I love that he sits he's sitting in a throne, like an actual throne, and then he takes his paper and sits in the throne. And he gets in the bathtub.
Yeah, and so what we're talking about is the morning ever where he wakes up with the hooker and Hobson comes in and he's like, "I've brought you all these things. This is for I've anticipated your condition. You take all this stuff. Go get out." And to the hooker is like, "I've arranged for you to have breakfast on the east patio. Basically get out essentially." And then he cuts, and then he's
hi.
Yeah, he's in a And then it gets into sort of their life, and you realize that Hobson is like a father figure to this guy. He's taking care of him. He is the father to this
his
child.
British tough love is just wonderful.
And it's so hard for me, obviously, to talk about this because I just am so in awe of every single quote of his, and his delivery is just.
I have a really good one for later on. Let's see if you got that one too. But wait, does this lead into the scene where he goes to his father's office?
Eventually, yeah.
No, not yes, but that's before he meets Linda, right?
Yes, this is all before Linda.
Why doesn't anybody smile here?
Yeah.
They smile at lunchtime.
Well, he says, because he said, well, let's get there a second. But one of the things I want to say is like, so after he goes, Hobson, I'm going to take a bath, and he says, I'll alert the media. And he says, do you want to run the bath for me? That's what I live for. And all this stuff. And it's so withering and wonderful. Yeah. But there's a scene where they're getting ready to go. And he's saying, I don't want to go. And he's going to tell me I have to marry Susan. And I want to marry Susan. And he's kind of complaining. And Hobson basically is encouraging him to marry Susan. And he has this one line, and it's delivered, again, immaculately. He just says, Arthur, I don't want you to be alone. And he says it in this way in which, as we learn later on, he knows he's dying, but no one else knows this in the moment. But if you watch him when he says it with that knowledge, you could see it
far off look in his eyes.
It's just in his eyes. You don't hear it in his tone. There's nothing at all, and it's like it's such truly overused phrase, but it's such a masterclass in acting. This guy.
But then Arthur's reaction is the most genuine childlike. Mm-hmm. I'll never be alone. I have you.
It is. It's what a child would say, and then it cuts back to Gielgud, and he has this look, and you just, I mean it. If you've seen it, you obviously know. But even if you don't, like, I imagine the first time, because I don't remember the first time I saw this, but I would imagine that you would probably feel it in your bones. Something's not right. You know what I mean? And it's just,
and that's why, like, this
so
movie,
beautifully
you're
done.
howling, laughing, and then the next second you're like, oh,
yeah, it's beautifully done. But yeah, then they go to the dad's office, and he says he go to the dad's office, and he says, I hate it here, and he goes, of course you hate it. People work here.
I love. And then he here, read this magazine. There are many pictures.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, this script is. I got to talk about this director and the writer later on. But
wait.
Yeah,
it just hit me. The guy that's on the phone, and he's like, he's got all that money.
Yeah,
you
know who he is.
Gives his family from
Die Hard.
Oh, that's not what I was gonna say.
He's the idiot police chief in Die Hard.
But isn't he also?
He just let him die, man. He just let him die.
But isn't he also in Battle for Endor? Isn't he the dad in Battle for Endor?
I don't know. Maybe he usually plays such an idiot. That guy. It's great character actor.
Good as Sindel's dad in Battle for Endor. which is a great.
We'll get there. We'll get there. All right.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, but so they go there. He goes to the dad. What?
Wait.
What?
Stop being so nervous. Later on, we'll get ice cream.
Yeah, so they go. Oh no, I did it again.
Oh.
They go and the dad basically says, "You got to marry her, or we're going to take all your money." And he's like, "Oh, fine, I'll marry her." Then they go to the department store, and that's where they encounter Linda. He sees, and I love that he's so mad about this that he's just ordering just dozens and dozens and dozens of the same
green
shirt
sweaters.
and pants and sweaters, and
Check it out
it's
with
just because
all
he's
green.
pissed. So he's just like charging all this money for because he's bored and he's mad.
But wait, at his father's office, I love the part when his dad's giving him, and he's like, I won't, whatever, I won't do it. He walks out, and whatever he says, like, there's no, you're off, you're cut off, and he goes, "Your lady is quite beautiful."
Oh yeah, right.
You see
right.
when the light hits her just right, and then whatever he's mumbling, and then he goes, "Please don't make me do this, Father."
Yeah,
Like no matter how drunk he is, he's still like, "Please."
yeah,
And the dad's like,
yeah.
"Mary, Susan, Arthur."
Yeah. You'll be a wealthy man. So they go to the department store. Liza Minnelli's stealing a tie, which he witnesses, and he's like immediately taken because she's breaking all the rules, and he's just like she's living life. Then he sees that the security guard
Stole
is
that tie. It's a public crime. Girls don't wear ties.
Oh right, yeah. And Hobson sees it all too, and they go outside, and the security guard accosts her on the street, and she she's like the total spitfire, and she's like trying to turn on him. She's like, "You'll never work in this town again. You give me your name right now, mister," and all this kind of stuff. She's amazing.
I saw you put a tie in that bag.
And then Arthur steps in and basically is like, "Oh no, she's with me. She was shopping." And they immediately fall into this great, which happens several times in the movie, where they just kind of completely fall into this whole routine. Like it's like, "Oh darling, you did." He's like, "Oh, I forgot to put it on the tab." She's like, "Oh my gosh, Chester, I'm so sorry."
Chester, that's his name.
Chester's the security guard, and they do this.
Sorry, Mr. Bach.
He comes in and does this, saves her.
It's so good.
They do this whole routine, like they were shopping together and all this kind of stuff. And then
I had no idea. I'm sorry.
Yes. It's so well done. Then she goes to get on the bus, and this whole thing happens where they have this great exchange with Hobson, which again he just whips out these incredible lines. What is one of these? So
something about me. Usually, you have to go to a bowling alley to meet a woman of your stature.
That's such a great one. He just rips on her the whole time, and she
she's
just
like,
is always yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
I'll be with you in a minute. Who is that guy?
So he asks her out, basically, and then actually they go to. Oh, that's right. Then she gets driven home by Bitterman, the limo driver, and she does she wants to get out in front of Mrs. Nesbit, the neighbor.
Mrs. Nesbit, which I'll always remember as, "See the hat? I am Mrs. Nesbit." From Toy Story.
Oh my
I can't hear
gosh.
that name.
I have not seen
but
that one. Oh,
See the hat?
in Aunt Linda's house up for 4th of July, we'd watch the toy.
What? No. Toy Story.
Oh, Toy Story.
No, not the super racist. Not a brilliant Richard Pryor film.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Mrs.
See that? I love that movie.
That's
All right,
an
anyway.
amazing movie.
Yeah, no.
I like that. I just missed.
Usually one
missed
must
Toy
go.
Story for the toy. That's pretty good.
That's a lot. What you just packed into there. Yeah, we're gonna get canceled if we do the toy.
I love the. No, we won't endorse it.
No?
I can't believe they let us watch that movie.
Oh, how? Listen.
Yeah.
No, what? Unless you're planning to knock over a fruit stand later in the evening.
Oh my gosh, there's so many great lines. But we have to figure out right now because
What?
we're already just like
What?
we're going almost line by line through this movie. We're never going to get through the whole thing.
We're fine. You can't listen. The reason why this movie is so freaking magical, as let's do a challenge. Let's see.
What's the challenge?
If you and I and Dad can watch Arthur with the likes of someone like John, and he just rips his own face off. Because that's our half of our childhood is just quoting Barefoot in the Park and Arthur. And
Yeah, but I don't talk through movies though. Are you saying we'd be sitting there watching
well,
this
you
and
laugh.
quoting?
and it's very funny. And
I laughed
Dad
watching Arthur last night. I laughed the entire time.
And I do.
One of my favorite.
Did you watch it alone?
Bits. Alicia came down. Alicia goes. I said I got to watch this. I said I'm going to watch Arthur because she doesn't like watching movies she's seen before, which is I don't understand.
Over and over again. I'll do it.
She actually says she doesn't like Groundhog's Day because it's a movie about the same thing happens again.
Dad
and again
hates
and
that
again.
too. Did you know that?
I don't understand that.
Dad will not watch. I wanted him to watch a really good movie. It's a newer movie. I tried to make you watch it too, but you were like, F off. About Time, which is just like a really beautiful movie.
Why'd you make...
I can't ever make you watch anything.
I think there's someone in it that I don't care for.
Yes,
so I don't.
but you didn't even see the thing you didn't care for. But I'm saying, forget him. It's a really good movie. And that guy, the British guy's in it. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. From Love Actually, the British guy who I love. I forget his name. Really?
The older Bill Nighy?
Yes, yeah. I love him.
He's fantastic.
He's amazing. And he makes the movie. But Dad, I think I tried to have Dad watch it because it's such a beautiful story. I thought, oh, he'll love it.
Is it sappy?
Yes, and it's so good. But he was like, I can't do it. Well, he's reliving everything over and over. I'm like, but you can, as a dad, when you get past that and you get to the end, that's the best
I don't understand the people that can't do the movies about the same thing.
Because he does that,
and
then the whole idea of the movie is, even if you could go back, don't go back. Enjoy every day for what it. And it was such a nice thing. And he was like, I'm not watching this anymore. I'm like, okay. Well, our whole childhood was spent watching your movies, and it did benefit us. I'm very happy about that. But the least you could do is watch this freaking movie. Sorry, Dad, but I really wanted you to watch About Time. It's really good. It's really good.
This is a marketing campaign for the re-release of About Time.
I love that movie. And the music's great. Anyway,
what I'm saying is that no, we're not doing fine. We're literally crawling through this line by line.
I'll tell you why.
If anyone is still listening to this, they're like, "What is happening?"
No, they're not. This is we didn't get that far.
I don't need because to reenact the entire movie.
But it's so funny. Arthur is rich. He hates his dad. He goes to see his dad. He meets Linda.
We already did this.
I know, but I'm telling you, we're not that far off track. We're still. This is like the first 15 minutes of the movie. Okay, fine, go.
Anyway, you see Liza's dad, who I believe he plays. That's the same actor as Seinfeld's dad, I believe, right? Am I not?
No. I'm thinking George's dad.
I meant to look that up.
Seinfeld?
No, that's Jerry Stiller.
He looks like a cartoon.
I got to work with him once on
Jerry Stiller or this guy?
Jerry Stiller. And it was just so cool to meet him.
Yeah,
he's so gosh, such a talented guy. I meant to look this up, and I completely forgot. Yeah, it's Barney Martin, and I'm sure
his name's
Seinfeld.
Barney. Oh, in the movie. Okay, I was gonna say he looks like
Ralph
a Barney.
Marola. His name is Barney. Barney Martin.
He looks like a Barney.
Well, there you go.
But he looks like
good job, Barney's
He
parents.
looks like a cartoon character.
So yeah, he's Seinfeld's dad in Seinfeld.
I think he was also on Golden Girls.
He's in everything. That guy was a fantastic character actor. I'm so glad I never knew his name, and I feel really guilty, but I'm glad that I do now. So Liza Minnelli says that tells her dad that they have this great thing. I love the description of a very wealthy man because it's very much the same thing as a bum. When he's like, oh, you met a guy. What does this guy do? He's like, He doesn't nothing. He's like, what does he do? Does he have a job? No. He's like, oh, another bum. It's like,
Dad, he's a millionaire. You have my permission to marry him.
You have my permission to marry him. Like but it's funny. It's like it is pretty much the same life. No job. They don't do anything. Ambition.
I'm gonna let
nothing
you
at
know.
all. Then he goes to the florist, and you already did like the best line there.
How does it feel to have all that money? Feels great. A stupid question.
I love that too. Like I said, the way that the movie deals with money is so great because now it's like money's evil, all this kind of stuff. But like he just the guy's got all the money in the world, he's having a blast. And I love that they just kind of let him be that. And there's no. I wonder. I'm sort of curious if in the remake they make it more of a thing. I have no idea. It just occurs to me in our modern times if it grappling with money.
Oh God.
I wonder if that's part of it.
Here's a question I have actually. I was always thinking of his date with Linda. Susan.
Yeah.
As separate, but it's only the one day he goes to her house, then they go on that date. I always thought they had a date earlier, and then that, but no, that's when the engagement happens.
Yeah, we don't see Susan until then.
Wow, it felt so early. Well, anyway, he meets Linda, gets her flowers. It's very cute.
They go on the date. They go on the date. I love the musicians. My favorite is the guy at the shooting gallery. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's just staring at him.
There's this weird.
15 tokens. What is he?
There's just, I don't know. They're at the shooting gallery. And he's shooting this rifle at something like one of the shooting games. And there's just this guy, and I love the director for putting this total random dude who's just kind of like hanging right behind them, like looking the whole time. And eventually they reference him at some point. I don't know who that guy is. I'm guessing it's a crew person. I have no idea, but it was I love this. Is just total rando. Just in the middle of the scene, just staring at them the whole time. It's wonderful.
I had to place that guy in another movie, it would be in Barefoot in the Park when Robert Redford's in the whatever that restaurant is that they go before, and he goes, "I was watching my coat because I saw someone else watching my coat." I feel like it would be a guy like that.
I have an interesting thought. As an idea. What if you take what character from a movie, lead character from a movie, would you put into a different movie? Like if you took Arthur and you had to put Arthur,
the toy.
Anyway,
anything.
There's that great line. And then he goes to see his grandmother also, and she's got that great thing. Peanuts. The grandmother's amazing. I love that role.
Marry Susan and cheat on the woman.
She's the best.
With the woman from Queens.
I love that she also is a woman like kind of loves like she and
also in Golden
one of
Girls.
The best lines she has, and I don't remember. Is it in this? Oh, she says to him. She goes, Martha is what he called the grandmother. She says, Arthur, is it wonderful to be promiscuous? It's just a great line. But one of the best lines.
At your age, Martha, just might be dangerous.
And then, like, she's kind of so sweet and everything, and then she will turn and say, she says, we are ruthless people.
Yes.
And it's like a chilling line when she says it.
She's nasty.
And then she says, marry Susan and cheat with the nobody from Queens, which is so great. But I love that character is so wonderful because she's such a comic character. But when she says it there, and then at the end, after Arthur got beat up, and she goes, don't screw with me, Bert.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't want to. She's wonderful.
Until this moment, this is kind of funny. Like if there was a sequel, and if Hobson hadn't, it would have been pretty cheesy, horrible, but also funny to see Hobson and Martha get together because she says cheat with the nobody from Queens, and then later he pisses off Arthur. He pisses off Arthur by saying, thank you. Pisses off Arthur by saying, I don't know why. Taught like that would save you a fortune in prostitutes.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, listen, never talk about her like that again. And it's a great scene.
That's a great scene because, and we should jump right to that, honestly.
No, we're skipping a lot.
Okay.
All right, do what you want. You're the
No, I'm just saying because
all right, skip it. Do it.
No, it's actually important though because she says, after that scene, I haven't noticed where he breaks up with her. He calls, he calls
sure,
Liza Minnelli.
fine.
Yeah, and he says, well, we're going to break up. And then there's a great scene where it cuts. He's like, I'm engaged. And she's like, no problem at all. And she hangs up the phone and then it cuts back and the dad is just crying. Oh my God. It's so great.
I love that.
How affected he is.
I can't come to sure, fine, why? She's just so
I know, it's so good.
She is so angry and it's so awesome.
So he breaks up with her, then he goes to Hobson's room. So he's in Hobson's room and I can't remember why. That's right, because Bitterman, he says, what's
not feeling
Arthur's?
well.
Yeah, he says he's not feeling well.
Yeah.
Which now we're sure like he's not. And then he goes to Hobson's room and Gielgud does this whole like, oh, I'm dying, kind of like
there
joking.
Are 3 books. Take them back to the library.
Yeah, he has this whole like, leave me alone. I'm fine, Arthur, all this kind of stuff. But he has one of my favorite lines that I had forgotten actually. And I've realized I love this line so much and I just really forgotten it was from this. And I don't know how, but he says, well, first of all, this is the scene where he stands up to him. This is why we couldn't skip ahead because he says, what you were saying, Hobson calls Linda a tart. And
Yeah.
what does he say?
A little tart could save you a fortune in prostitutes.
Yeah. And this is so important because it's the first time that Arthur says, what is his response to him exactly?
So,
I'm sure you remember it.
Listen, old man.
Yeah.
Don't ever talk about her like that again. She's the best person I know. Damn it, why are you such a snob?
That's right. And then he walks
storms
out and closes the door, and Gielgud sits up in bed and looks at the door, and then Arthur comes back in, and I think he says to him,
I've raised my voice to you. I've never done that.
yeah, and it's the first time we see him take a step towards being a man.
I think he might be growing up.
Yeah. And he says that, and then what's so great was the last two lines of the scene. I think the last two lines is Arthur says, "Do you want anything?" And he goes, "I want to be younger."
That made me cry when I watched.
And it's so.
I want to be younger.
I want to be younger. It's so great.
Sorry,
Oh,
it's your job to be older.
That's right. That's what he says.
But the smile too. He's like,
It's so good. I want to be younger. Then there's Susan's house and the butler.
oh,
Which
where
is
do you start?
The beginning of one of the best comic sequences in any movie.
Walk this way, which is funny because that's like Young Frankenstein.
Does he actually say that? I don't think he says that.
I think
he just says this way to the library.
But he does walk behind him with the same gait.
He
like,
does that, yeah. It's like this ancient butler who's got these huge mutton chops, these giant glasses, and they've had this they've had this whole sequence of Arthur just drinking while he's driving this Rolls Royce out there. He's just absolutely lit, and he gets to the door and
he's laughing.
And it's just an onslaught of one-liners to this butler, and there's just no reaction from this guy at all, and it's just.
Are you sure you want to be a nightclub comic?
What are some of the lines in there? Go.
That's it.
No. There's a whole run that he does about everything, and I don't remember what it all is. But anyway, okay. All right, you failed me on that one. I thought you were gonna have them all. I thought I was gonna have to chop you down. He's going to get engaged with Susan, but he goes and we meet Susan's dad, and so Arthur's just absolutely wasted, and there's this moose on the wall, and there's just this run about this. I was talking about it earlier. There's this run about this moose, and apparently he was really just going off this whole time and saying things like, "Where's the rest of this moose?" It's a mounted head on the wall. He must have hated this moose. And it's so amazing. And the dad, he comes in like sort of a safari jacket.
He does.
Almost. And he's just this total like kind of character, two-dimensional kind of character of like this kind of tough. And he has this whole speech where I was like, I didn't inherit money like you did, Arthur. I had to work for what I had. Then he has this whole crazy monologue about how he stabbed a guy to death when he was 11 because he broke into his house to steal the bread.
And I killed him in the kitchen.
Which, when you're watching it, you're like, what the hell is going on? But then there's an amazing callback at the end when there's the sequence where like he's beating Arthur's left Susan at the altar basically, and the dad's beating him up.
Wait,
and he's got the knife, and there's a knife sticking in the cheese, and the dad looks at it, and he slowly pulls the knife out of the cheese, and Arthur goes, "He's pulling the knife out of the cheese."
Do you think you want some cheese? I don't think so. Matt, I wrote it down. Pull the knife out of the cheese. Do you think you want some cheese? And he's like, and that's when your line. Don't screw with me, Bert.
But the dad's such a crazy character, like that. He's like
psycho.
He's so crazy, and it basically threatens Arthur. He's like, Susan is my greatest possession, and you will obey, or I will kill you, essentially. So then they go to the restaurant, and he has and Susan's just, for some reason, we don't know why, it doesn't really matter, is just in love with him. Like, she also is a character that has she's a total two-dimensional character, like no backs, doesn't matter. But we don't care, because she's just enamored, and she loves him for whatever reason, or love, but whatever. And he's just not having it at all. And what was the line you said earlier about the poet? The poet line is here.
But wait, you did skip over. That's great. You probably never run out of ice your whole life.
Oh, that's right. Because he talks about, I don't like your drinking.
Oh, yeah.
But
they go to the restaurant, and this is one of Dad's favorite lines. What?
Is it the hand?
It's the hand.
Yeah.
Arthur, take my hand.
Does that only leave you with what?
sorry, the hand. That's Dad's Love you, Dad. Really over exaggerated. But I would leave you with one. It's so.
It's not
funny.
over. That's closer to what
It
how
is
he actually does
when
it.
I said it, I was like,
That's closer to how he does it.
Oh my gosh.
But then he goes. So then after this, basically he gives her this ring that's like the size of a plant. He's huge. It's so gigantic.
Enormous.
He hands her this ring. She proposes in the least romantic possible way, and then
My grandmother gave this ring to me.
then he drives right to Susan's, and this sequence too. He's so drunk. This is like where Dudley Moore, like his physical comedy, and he's also, we have said it, he is the best drunk in cinema history.
His movement, and is he wearing bell bottoms the whole time? Because I'm really here for it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Bell bottoms. He's always wearing in every movie. He's always wearing bell bottoms. But he's like, his drunk is so freaking funny.
I forgot about the fight he walks into as well. That is amazing. Between the husband and wife in the building.
Well, that's what I was saying. He
Yes.
goes and he has this great. He gets out of this Rolls Royce. He's totally wasted. He's drinking from a tumbler. He balances it on the edge of the car, and he's like all wobbly all over the place. He goes into the wrong apartment building. He knocks on the door. He knocks, and this woman comes out. She's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm looking for Susan." And then eventually, this woman just keeps screaming and threatening him, and she's like, "I'm gonna get my husband." And this husband, who looks absolutely horrible and just exhausted and beaten down by this woman in life, comes to the door, and he's just like, "Oh, Susan lives over there," you know. And she goes, "You're gonna tell this stranger where he lives?" He goes, "Shut up, Perry. She's horrible."
Get out of
Perry. And he pulls the husband. He's like, "She's terrible." "She's terrible. What can I do? You gotta get rid of her." And all this stuff, and they're screaming, and she like pulls him back into the apartment, and he's just yelling, "Wow, that's terrible." He goes back out. He
covers the baby carriage. You shouldn't hear this.
Yeah, he goes back out. He gets another drink, and at some point in the scene, when he finally gets to Susan's apartment, he says to the dad, he's like, "Hi, I'm Arthur. I'm here to see Susan. Don't you just hate Perry's wife?" It's so fantastic. It's so
I just hate Perry's wife. Oh, that's so great. And this was one of the esoteric quotes I was going to give you.
Oh, and what? From there?
Yeah. And he knocks everything. He's like, "Susan," and he knocks everything off. And then he stumbles down to the floor, and he's trying to collect the mail.
Well, this is one of my favorite bits from any movie.
And he tries to get the mail holder and goes, "This is a gunner."
I don't know if I would have remembered that line, because what she's talking about is he comes in, the dad is like thrilled that he's there, and he's like, "Come on in."
Oh, Arthur.
And then he sees Liza Minnelli, Linda, and he knocks over like a simple 3-piece plastic mail
Like a
holder.
dollar store plastic bill.
And this is one of my favorite. I don't know whose idea this was. I'm sure it was his idea, but I love that the director, because there's a shot just for this. So like it was a bit that they came up with. It cuts in on him. So he knocks the mail over. The mail carrier falls apart. He's like, "Oh, I dropped everything." He's handing the mail to Linda. She grabs it from him, and he's like, "Oh." And then he picks up the two plastic pieces, the two vertical pieces, and there's like one small connector piece in the bottom, and he's holding one in each hand, and he just is trying to press them together for like 30 seconds
just
of
staring
film
at
time.
him like,
and the dad is staring, and and it just keeps cutting, and he's just so focused, and you realize in him doing this, he has no idea what this thing is.
Or
He's
what to do with
never
mail.
Seen
He's like,
it.
"What is
Doesn't know
it?"
what mail is. He doesn't know what this is. He has no idea. And he's just pressing it together like he's trying to, like, I don't know, press pancakes together or something. And he goes on. It's got to be at least 30 to 45 seconds, which is a long time on film. Yeah. Or at least it feels that way. And he finally goes, "This is a goner." He gives it to her.
And what is she does rage in this movie so well.
Oh my gosh.
What does she say? She's like, "What are you doing here?" Like,
oh yeah, she's pissed.
In the middle of the night. Like, she's so angry, and he's like,
yeah, and then he sort of offers to basically set her up. He's like, "I'm going to get married, and I'll give you money, and I'll put you in an apartment, and we can see each other." And she's like, basically like, "Are you calling me a..." And he immediately, even though he's drunk, realizes like, that was not, that
when he offers her money, she says no. You hear that? I go, "Oh."
Oh yeah. $10,000. Oh! And the dad's listening at the door.
$10,000.
Yeah. Oh, it's so, I love it. Seriously though,
I have explained
that bit to so many people, and I always get the same reaction, which is a blank stare, because it's not funny to explain. And yet here I have done it again, and I don't care because it's so funny.
And they
it's
can't
just
see it, but like I would have said that quotation, this is a gonna. But I bet you anything if I had been like,
oh, instantly I would have known. I love that.
And she's
That's one of my
staring at
favorite
him.
little bits. It's so random.
and he's staring at, and they're all staring
It's
at each
such
other.
a random bit, but I just love it. Oh no, it's $100,000, not $10,000. It was $100,000, I think. Then it cuts to the racetrack. So she rejects him. She's like, basically, get out.
Yeah.
So that's done.
Closet.
Now he's getting. Yeah, he tries to leave. He walks into the closet, and she just Then they cut to this racetrack, and here he is doing his big boy toys. He's driving around this racetrack in some car for whatever reason.
I love this.
And then that's when Hobson smacks him because he's complaining about how he feels unloved and everything. And may I have your helmet, please? You know,
Not your goggles.
now your goggles. He makes him take his helmet and goggles, all the stuff off, and then he slaps him. What I wish I could remember exactly what he says there. I stopped writing them down because I couldn't keep up.
Oh.
But it's like we said it earlier. It's like you
Yeah.
spoiled little brat or whatever it
Yeah.
is. You have everything. You feel unloved. Welcome to the world, Arthur. Well, all unloved, and it's so beautiful.
And incidentally, I love you.
And incidentally, I love you.
But before he says that, he is, you're the worst part. The worst part about being me, I would imagine your breath.
Yes.
That too.
But it's this great scene where he's actually, for the first time, feeling he can't get something
Yes.
that he wants, which has never happened to him in
has
his life
no
before.
perspective at all.
But I
Like-
also so love that they don't, again, dwell on it. Like, I feel like, again, this movie Made This Day would be like, he'd be like realizing, I've always gotten everything I've wanted. Like, it'd be this whole thing. And I love that they just kind of, he's like, he's not getting it. He's feeling it, but doesn't get it. And I think it's kind of, again, I'm so shocked that people love this movie as much as they did. I get it because Dudley Moore is amazing, but like the character's not particularly likable. Well, actually, Alicia was like, she was laughing and I was like, oh, I thought you didn't like this movie. You said, she's like, no, it's like, I like this movie, but like, it's hard for me to root for a man-child.
Oh, I love him.
You know, and I thought that was interesting.
Because he's so tender. He's such a love. But,
because there's no hate in him at all. He just loves everything and everybody. He loves living.
He does.
And he's just a spoiled brat.
I like about him and Hobson. First, Hobson is like an 80s mom where he's like, get your shit together. I love you, but stop acting like a brat.
Yeah.
Whereas now everyone's like, listen, this is how it's going to be. And, moms were like, get upstairs. Come down when you're ready. And you were like, by the way, no, our mom did not do that. No, she did not do that. Heidi, you didn't do that. We love you. I got a lot of timeouts, but I really earned them. Husk it yourself.
That's true.
Did you hear
Husk it yourself. What's that?
You've never heard this story?
I'm sure I have, but my memory is legendarily
Let's do an
bad.
aside really quick. Mom was, I
want to know what this is. I'm guessing it's corn related.
Gia, our grandmother, was down. I was being a brat, obviously. I was little. I definitely kindergarten, first grade, tops.
Yeah.
Maybe preschool. I don't know. We were going to husk the corn. I was being a jerk and I forget. I was sent upstairs because I was being a jerk and Mom came up and knocked on the door and I came in. She said, I came in and you were laying on your bed with your hands behind your back, your legs crossed, and you were bouncing your one leg over the knee of the other. And I said, Jessi, would you like to come down and husk the corn with us? She goes, you stopped and looked at me and went, husk it yourself.
Amazing.
And she goes, okay. And just leaves.
Amazing.
I was like, really? She was like, I will never forget that. And she's like, I was mad, but I had to shut the door because I started laughing. Like,
I've definitely experienced that with Keelan. It's kind of amazing when your kid starts having an attitude like that, and it's kind of hilarious. Like, it's very annoying.
You're like, good call.
It's kind of annoying, and you're kind of like, come on. But also, some of it is very funny. That's a good one. We haven't had a husk it yourself level situation yet, but there are some moments where you're kind of like, oh, I see now. Well, then, so after this scene where Hobson says that he loves it, what?
I forgot something.
Oh my
Please.
gosh.
One
What
more,
is it?
more.
What is it?
When he goes to see Susan and the dad's threatening him, he goes, I took a knife and I killed him in the kitchen. And Arthur goes, you probably ate out that night, with that man lying in your kitchen. Again, I can't do the accent. I got to have you do it.
They're so good.
The lines.
After the racetrack scene, though,
Yes.
is when
Sorry.
Hobson goes to Linda's.
Yeah.
Which is another, just an Hobson. Like I imagine this writer must have had such a fun time putting these characters together, because Hobson going into their like tiny little place with the dad being desperate for money and everything, and he was like, when he arrives, he just goes, "I'm here to see Linda," and he says, I can't remember what he says, but then Gielgud looks at him and goes, "If you and your undershirt could move 2 paces back, I could enter this dwelling." It's so incredible.
I loved when he goes, "Who is this person?"
Who is this person? Yeah, Linda comes
That's
out.
my father.
And they're talking, "Who is this person?" And then the dad says something, and he goes, "Try not to speak."
I love it. I'm here to see Linda.
Linda. He's the most
Linda.
condescending
was
jerk, but he's
nasty.
so lovable at the same time.
And I like that she loves him
And she
too.
recognizes it.
She
and,
does.
And again, so well paced and directed and written and performed in this scene, because he comes in, he says all these horrible things to the dad. The dad just kind of like, it rolls right off his back. Linda's like, "Hey, enough," or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Whatever," essentially. And then he explains the engagement party is happening at this place at this time. Perhaps you should go. And she's like, "Are you telling me to go?" And he's like, "I would never be involved."
Are you inviting me to Arthur's engagement party?
Yeah.
She's furious.
And then he brings her a dress.
It's beautiful.
And he brings her the dress and he says, "Don't look at it now, wear it to the thing." And then he when does she give him a kiss? He moves to the door. And there's another heartbreaking line where she says, "She's that cough. It sounds bad. You should see a doctor." And he goes, she goes, "Have you seen a doctor?" And he looks at her and he goes, "Yes, and they have seen me." And you're just like, oh my God, it's so hard. And then he puts his little hat on, and then she says, "May I give you a kiss? Do you feel strongly about it?" She says,
Yes.
"Yes." And then he comes and gives her a kiss, gives her a kiss on the cheek. It's so sweet. And you love them to get every combination of character in that scene is so beautiful.
I just think it speaks of the depth of character that they both. I think it is the jokes he makes aside. He really likes her for Arthur.
Oh, he does.
And she, even though he's to her and her dad, she's like, he's a good man, and you really care for him. And then what is it? Oh,
Absolutely.
my God. But I also love that the outfit he gets her is the last thing I would expect him to pick out. But it's so Linda.
It's a very 80s dress.
Shoot.
So then they go to the engagement party, and you see Dudley Moore playing piano. My gosh, that guy is such an incredible pianist.
I need a drink.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Where Levy sits down, Dudley Moore, was an amazing pianist, and he sits down and plays, and he does this incredible, like kind of classical, almost jazzy opening, and then it's this big introduction, and then he goes, "Oh, you better not shout, or we better not pout, you better not cry," and it's just this Christmas song. It's so good. So it's a big.
If you knew Susan like I knew Susan, I need a drink.
It's this big swanky, very fancy party, and Linda shows up, and she kind of, this guy starts hitting on her, and she starts to kind of use him to kind of like make Arthur jealous in some way. And then Arthur, in the middle of playing piano, what Jessi was saying, he's playing piano, and he's kind of, "If you knew Susan like I knew Susan," and he looks over and he sees Linda. And that's when he goes, "I need a drink." Then he walks over to her, and then they begin. This guy Preston is just in the middle of this conversation.
You waited for me.
And they start up again. Arthur and Linda like immediately fall in. And this is where I was saying earlier, it's like it's crazy they fell in love immediately, but part of the fairy tale of this, I think, is that they are just meant for each other. They understand each other's rhythms and everything immediately. It's so good.
The voice she puts on. And he's like, "What are you doing here? And why are you talking like that?
And why are you talking like that?" It's so great.
Join us.
It's so wonderful. Then they go out, they kind of slip out to the stables, and because I guess this is at Arthur's house, or his family's home. And they slip out to the stables, and they're having this lovely conversation. All the stuff with the horse, like that apparently kept happening. They just kept rolling, and like all these takes, and
Can I kiss
she
you?
kept just cracking up and everything. And so there's this horse. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense what I just said there. But they're walking in the stables, and there's a horse in the last middle. I love that they just framed her. She's standing next to this stable door, and there's this very active horse that wanted to be on camera. And so he's just looking around, and he's like nudging her, doing stuff, and they just kind of left it there rolling, and it's so great.
It was so cute. It was so real. And then he's like, "Can I kiss you?"
Also, they always say,
and he kisses the horse.
in acting and film and TV, they always say like the old adage is never work with animals or children or animals, whatever it is. And the reason being, you know, acting at its best is supposed to be completely spontaneous and real and believable in the moment and all that kind of stuff. And that's what children and animals do. Like they have no concept of anything else. They just kind of do what they do on impulse alone. And so they always say, never be on screen, never work with animals or children, because they're always going to upstage you because they're more interesting to look at they have no idea what's going on. And you always look at the thing like, but in that scene though, to Liza Minnelli's credit, it's like plays off of the horse.
Well,
She's
and that's the thing too, because it's sort of like it doesn't make sense.
Such a nerdy actory thing I was just talking about.
I mean, obviously.
Such a nerdy actory thing, but it's true. And she's really, really good.
And I can see why they would even tongue in cheek say that, because not only will they distract from it, but they could bring you your actual like you would laugh like you, not the character, but sounds exactly like it's very authentic.
This is the whole.
Oh, she does a great job.
No, but this is the whole like acting thing. That a lot of people think that acting. It's like a lot of people think where it's like you become someone else, and I do not agree.
I think if you can blend, I'm not an actor, but I think if you could blend those two things, it's much easier to be natural. Like if you got put yourself in that place.
No,
but again,
more important than anything else is just, I think honestly, it's just to have natural reaction to things.
That acting is reacting is the simplest and most effective way of explaining it.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember you told me that when I was in the play in senior year, and it was just basically
Did I say acting is reacting?
I don't know if you said that, but the idea is you have to, obviously you have to learn your lines, but you kind of have to hear the line as if you're hearing it in real time.
Well, that's why
prepared to answer it.
That's why you learn the lines, so you don't have to think about it. It's like
it has to come naturally.
The idea, especially like I'm sort of Meisner trained stuff, is like the idea is that the line is like an impulse that like you don't have to actually use your brain at all. You've used your brain in everything up until the moment where you're performing, and then it's just an impulse. It comes to you, and the line just comes out naturally because you've prepared that way and rehearsed that way and everything like that. You're not thinking what the line is. I've always loved the definition of acting that I always default to is acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. I think that kind of holds all of it together. Yeah. But anyway.
More importantly, how come your mic, you just don't move? Am I just a fidget wonder?
Yeah.
Like I've been touching this thing the whole time.
You are a fidget spinner.
I mean, even my therapist was like, "You're moving a lot." And everything else. She literally was like, "Are you okay?"
You move a lot. But they're there in the stables, and then Susan comes in and she's like, "Oh, am I interrupting?" Because they weren't kissing. I don't. Were they kissing?
No.
No, she like touches his face like lovingly, and she's like, "Oh, I hope I'm not interrupting anything." And they immediately fall into it again where she says, Liza Minnelli's like, "No, I understand why you would say that. We should tell her, Arthur." And for the first,
you could say that.
And for the first time, Arthur's like lost, and he's like, you tell her." And she just Liza Minnelli just launched into this whole story about her husband who's sick, and the kids need money, and she's asking Arthur for money, and she's so embarrassed about it. She just goes on. It's just a hilarious story.
I have to go on with this? Of course not.
Yeah, it's so good. But we also skipped over her whole moon speech, which is, what do you think about that?
No, it was just cute. It was just a really cute little anecdote where they were talking about when they were young, and she says like it must have been something growing up here, and da 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 da. I don't really remember where it fits in. It was just
she was saying like the moon.
Yeah,
she always thought as a child the moon followed her because something wonderful was going to happen one day. Yeah, and so. It pays off later in that line that I missed that you said when they come out of the diner. She goes, "I swear the moon was following me last night."
Yeah, yeah.
It's really,
it's really sweet, but I love the shock in his face. And she's like, "Am I interrupting something?" You could say that.
Yeah.
We might as well tell her. And he's like you said, you tell her. It's so awkward. You're like, oh. And she's and because she wanted to be an actress, that's the funny part too, is that her ambitions are to be an actress.
That's right.
She's so dramatic.
Linda's always trying to be an actress, right? But after this is that's when he gets the news that Hobson's in the hospital. So they go to the hospital, and I love that Bitterman's also great. He's a great character in this. The chauffeur. And his mustache is he's
so dry,
fantastic.
Really solid mustache.
but they're there, and Bitterman's upset, and Arthur is the one who's sort of taking charges as an adult all of a sudden.
Yes.
And he says to him, Bitterman says, he's like upset and everything, and he goes, "Do you want me to get you some scotch, sir?" And Arthur for the first time was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride this one out or whatever. And he says, okay, I need you to go to the house. I need you to do this, and that, and call these people and do that and whatever. And he, for the first time, is taking charge and being responsible. And then he brings these gifts in to Hobson. And where is the?
I bet you wrote the same line that I did.
Well, there's so many in this, but when does he say the line about? It must be this part. Yeah, it's in this.
No, it's
in this first scene when he comes in and he has a cowboy hat he puts on him or something like that, right?
Please, if I begin to die, please take this off my head.
Puts his ridiculous 10-gallon hat on. Please, this is not the way I wish to be remembered.
Oh, so good.
But there's this kind of silliness, and Arthur's like, "Oh, I'm going to take care of you. It's going to be great, and you're not sick. It's going to be fine." And then Hobson says, "I'm frightened, Arthur." And it's just the most Arthur, I'm frightened. And then that line just
Stop it.
It's so simple and just piercing. It's just wonderful.
He says, "I know you're frightened." Like he says to Hobson, "I know you're frightened. But I'm going to take care of you." That's what I guess.
But I'm going to take care of you. And then the next morning or however many days it's been, the entire hospital room has been transformed into Hobson's bedroom. They have all the things there.
It's gorgeous.
And then in that scene, he says to him, "It's not so bad. It's not so bad. You don't have to be frightened about it dying." You know what I mean? And so he's sort of coming around and all that stuff. They have a kind of a heart-to-heart about. I mean, I don't remember actually the meat of what they talk about in the scene, just because the individual lines. What the individual lines are.
I think it's so much about the music is really beautiful, and his sober presence is so.
You want to read some Shakespeare? Last time we left out, Hamlet was in big trouble, or something like that.
But I love the. I don't want to ruin this tender moment, but I love the line when he's giving them the gifts, and he goes, "Yes. If I feel the urge to dribble, I can always call the nurse."
That's what he gives him a basketball. Yeah. That's the one cheesy line in the whole movie.
I liked it.
That's cheesy.
What?
It's still good, but this,
you're cheesy.
Every other
Your
line
mom's cheesy.
Oh, sick burn, yo.
Brother, ooh. Brother, ooh.
But yeah, of course, this ends with the lovely, I'm
in the bedroom.
Yeah, when he finally says to him, Arthur, you're a good son. And it's just it's so lovely. I don't know. Everything about it is so lovely.
And then the next scene, he's in the bedroom and it's empty.
Yeah. They handle it so easily. There's no huge tears or emotional anything.
This is supposed to be funny, and I feel like I'm going to cry.
He just says, Arthur, you're a good son. And then I don't even know what it says. If that might be the last line, I don't know. And then it cuts and it's the next day, and Dudley Moore's sitting there playing chess by himself, and the bed is empty and made, and you're just like, oh. And then he's right back in a bar. And he's talking to that guy who keeps going,
wait.
Oh my God.
So everybody's dancing. What do?
I'm a dance instructor.
What?
That guy, whoever this, so he's in this absolute dive bar, and there's this barfly, this old haggard guy, and he just talks like that, and he keeps everything Dudley Moore says. He just keeps saying, "Oh my God."
Well, don't get so hysterical. Like, what does he say?
Yeah, they're just talking about. He's complaining about. It's a perennial favorite. The kids these days, nobody wants to work. Everyone's just dancing. And then they're talking about communism for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
It's just he basically is talking about how. And he says, my father died or whatever. Oh, it's terrible. And the scene just serves like he's fallen off the wagon. Hobson's gone. He's alone in the world.
Yeah.
And he has to go marry Susan in 20 minutes or something like that. He's supposed to be at the church. Wait a second. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull a U real quick and jump back because I forgot. When he's drunk and he goes to Linda's house after Susan's the date with Susan.
Yeah.
There's a scene, and I didn't know it was from this movie. I quote this all the time, and I'd forgotten it was from this movie. And he goes to the wrong place, and I can't remember where, but he puts the drink down, and he's going to one of the apartment buildings, and he walks into a bush, and he goes, "Oh, pardon me. and I will say all the time that I'll bump into somebody. Oh, pardon me, and I'd forgotten what that was from. And
That's great. That's like me and Queen Bitch of the Universe from The Abyss. I literally was watching that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's where, first of all, I thought I did.
Pardon me.
That's great.
So anyway.
Oh, you hedge.
So
that's what he says after. Oh, you hedge.
Probably, yeah.
No, that's what he says.
I don't remember that.
Well, that's what he says.
Okay. So he's at the bar. They go to the church.
Wait.
No, they don't go to the church yet.
Well, they
he goes
do,
to see
but
Linda.
he says, I'm a dance instructor.
Yeah.
No. I'm a dentist. Well, we're not bad. There's blood and teeth and gums.
Oh, my God.
He's like, don't get hysterical. He's like, no. But we're not bad guys.
It's such a random scene.
It's so
but
weird.
It's so funny. That guy is so funny in it. But then they go from there. Bitterman takes me, goes to Linda, who's working as a waitress, and that whole her whole banter with all the customers is great. About the muffin, about the roll. The guy wants this roll, and I don't know, whatever. Oh, she's busy at work, and then he comes in like a full British like morning tuxedo with like the long tail.
By the way, you wore tails to your prom.
I sure did. I thought I was so cool.
You had that long hair.
I think I probably had a top hat too.
You were fine. You had a top hat. You were fine, except you wore those weird vampire sunglasses.
Because of Dracula.
Yeah.
I thought I looked like
Interview with the Vampire.
No, not Interview. No, Dracula.
That's not about
Gary.
Dracula. Oldman.
Gary Oldman is Dracula.
Goodness.
That was the look I was going for.
Okay, that was
such a dork.
Interesting.
Such a dork. But yeah, he goes to get Linda, and he basically says, "I gotta marry Susan, but you know what? I don't want to marry Susan. I love you. I want to be with you. I'm going to give up the money." And then she's like, "Okay, great." And then they go to the church, and then he goes to find Susan.
Yeah. Oh.
And he's obviously super wasted, and he goes and he tells.
Hat.
And she finds Susan kind of with all her ladies in waiting off to the side.
Those outfits.
And their outfits are terrible in the 80s. And he tells her that he can't, he's not good. He loves someone else. That's what it is. He says, I'm in love with someone else. And then she just turns to the only character we ever see from her in the entire movie. She turns and goes, Daddy! And then the crazy guy comes in and he starts beating the hell out of Arthur. He's punching him, knocking him all over the place.
It has like a psycho vibe.
That guy's in like a totally different movie. It's bizarre. And then Linda comes in and she's trying to save him, and then that's when he pulls the knife out of the cheese. He pulled the knife out of the cheese. Do you think he was? What is he saying?
Do you think he wants some cheese? I don't think so. I think he's gonna kill us.
And then eventually Arthur, like this commotion is all heard from the outside, and Arthur's family comes in and breaks it up, and then he goes out and makes an announcement to the church, and he says that the brides had second thoughts.
Yeah,
which is even shows the character again. I think it's why we can deal with this character.
But he's like, most of you know me. Can you blame her?
Yeah. And then he passes out. And then it kind of has a slow fade, and he's sitting at the front of the church later on up at the altar with Linda, and they're just talking about, they're just getting along so well and funny and stuff. And the grandmother's Martha's sitting in the back of the church and sees them, and it's like realizes they're in love, and they're talking about how poor they're going to be, and they don't know she's there. And she's like, enough. What does she say? There's never been
a working class buck, and there never will be.
Yeah. So she basically says, I don't want none of our family's ever going to be working class. This is insane. I'm giving you the money. And then Arthur has that one line. He goes, I've had money in my life and I've been unhappy. Yeah. And she says, I've been poor in my life and I've generally been happy. And so you think it's going to go that way. And then the Martha's like, I will never offer you this money again. And she goes and gets in her car. And then he says, wait a minute. He goes over and talks to her, and he comes back. And then he has that thing. We've already said it, but she says, last minute is like, what happened? He's like, oh, I turned it down. And last minute she looks very disappointed. She goes, oh. Which I also think is great, because there's no way that character is not like, I'm just with you for of course. And so he goes, yeah. Oh no, she invited us over for dinner Thursday night. I turned it down. I took the money. I'm not crazy. And it's, do you want to double your salary? Yes, sir. Then open that door. It's so great.
Where do you want to go? To the park, Benjamin. You know how I love the park.
It's such a ridiculous movie in so many ways, but it's just so like, it's just really the writing and the performances are so great. But what I wanted to say about, by the way, this director that I was shocked about, not to sort of bring it down, this is crazy. This director, because again, watching it, I was like, this is so freaking funny, and the lines are amazing, and clearly all Gielgud's lines are scripted. This guy's name is Steve Gordon. He died 1 year after this came out. He had written on a bunch of TV shows. Like I'll tell you what's so sad. He wrote on a bunch of TV, like a bunch of sitcoms. And he wrote on Barney and Miller, the new Dick Van Dyke Show, something called The Practice, not the one you're thinking of, one from the 70s, some show, Good Time Harry. And then he wrote and directed this movie. He'd only worked in TV, I think. I think these were all just... No, there was one movie. He wrote a movie called The One and Only. I don't know what that is. He wrote this movie. He gets nominated for Best Screenplay. Gielgud wins Best Actor. They get Best Original Song. Dudley Moore is nominated for Best Actor. The guy is 44.
What happened to him?
He had a heart attack. He had a sudden heart attack. He was having lunch with, I think, a niece or something in his apartment, and he just had a heart attack.
Thanks,
and died.
Josh.
And you're just like... I was so blown away because I was like, what? This guy, I mean, look at him. The guy, there's a picture
so depressing.
On IMDb,
what are you doing?
There's a picture of him with Dudley Moore, and he just looks like he's the happiest guy in the world. He's on top of the world.
You said that like Paul Rudd in Clueless. He goes, we might get Marky Mark to plant a celebrity tree. You said it like Paul Rudd.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, well, tree. That was thanks a lot.
I know. I'm sorry to bring it down, but I was so blown away by this.
I can't bring in the line where she's putting the like.
I just wanted to pay tribute to this guy who
That's
wrote this fantastic movie that clearly everybody loved. All the reviews were glowing. He got all these crazy awards. He won. Actually, I think they won a bunch of other stuff in like other awards. Like I think
his poor niece is traumatized forever.
I mean, I don't remember his niece, but I know there was someone in his family who was with him, and when he died, and
sad.
He's so sad, especially because like the movie's so freaking
Think about
funny.
how many great movies we would have.
I mean, he was one, but I guess if that's the one way to go out if you absolutely nail it. I mean,
I guess so.
So yeah, I'm sorry to bring it down. Have you any final thoughts on this Arthur thing?
Another great thing he did before he died was when they're sitting on the church steps and she's putting the astringent on his face or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of Harry and the Hendersons. And he's like,
yeah.
And she's like, well, while we're here, she promised to love me and blah, 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 and be a good boy. She promised never to put that stuff on my face again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thoughts.
Yeah.
That this is the most quotable,
oh my gosh,
charming. It's great. And I think it's funny. I just think, speaking of infectious laughs, like he's like you said,
my gosh,
I can't.
That cackle he has is amazing.
I almost want to pull it up and just play one of his. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. He's laughing through the park. He's laughing everywhere. Everything is strong characters.
The uncomfortable amount of quotes and reenactments that we did on this one, we didn't even get like a quarter of them. I mean, it's
but you know what's really messed up though is I feel like we literally went through the movie in nearly chronological order with the
scene
quotes.
by scene, and we didn't get a quarter of. We only got a quarter of the quotes in there because that's how many good lines are in this darn movie.
And like most of the movies that we've enjoyed, this one is best served just to be enjoyed, not to be picked apart. But apparently you can't pick it apart because that review was great.
Well, all the reviews were great, and like I was saying, I felt like I actually had more to a critique of it than the reviews did. But like I've been saying, I really think you have to look at it. You look at it like a fairy tale, and you forgive a lot, but you forgive so much because of the performances.
But at the same time, like I also feel like there isn't much to forgive. It really is that good, and this is just.
There's no real. I mean,
this
the
is a movie
so
though that
basic.
How many times do you think we watched this growing up?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my god, so many times. And it's such a good one. But mom is a little bit more like normal people, where I'm sure she's seen it a million times, but I don't think she'll watch things many times, but I don't think that's her number one.
No.
She's like, oh god.
Yeah.
She'd still watch it, but if we were like, Dad, you want to watch Arthur? He'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he'd do the That would leave you with one. But
That
anyway,
would leave you
there are
with
no
one.
final thoughts other than Dudley Moore was a genius and he shall be missed forever.
Yeah. And
yeah, I loved it.
Steve Gordon.
We did do our game.
Well, we're doing it now.
We're doing it now?
Are we not? Yeah. Are we not doing it?
I didn't
now?
know if we talked too long and we ran out of time.
No, what we do. Remember,
Couldn't find my notepad.
Yeah, okay, so now it's time for our esoteric or random quote situation, which again is a thing that we've done all our lives. We pick random quotes from movies, not the famous ones everyone knows, like really random things that and throughout our lives we'll kind of throw it in, peppered into conversations when it's appropriate. But we're gamifying it more for these reasons, and we pulled some random quotes. We're going to go 3 rounds with each other, and I didn't really prepare as well. These are leftovers from another thing. Oh, I forgot to cross some of these out
If
from
I
last
do
time.
one sheet, can I have an extra, please?
No, my gosh,
We go
would
through
you
this-
just? I know we do go through it every time, and the answer is no. All right, I'm going to give you one that's probably real easy.
Okay.
I say that every single time.
And then
I just realized I have to stop saying
it.
it's so easy.
I never get it.
But on mic, dear, on mic.
Oh, I never get it. Sorry.
You do this thing where you just kind of your head slowly drifts over here, and you'll be talking like in the most uncomfortable position.
I am always on. Now, to be fair to the listening people, I have had back surgery. My leg is all gonky. It hurts.
Oh my gosh! All right. Okay, I think I did this one. Oh man, I did some. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I hope I can come up with it. All right, so let's start with I think an easy one. I'm going to give it to you. Ready?
Yeah.
Junior Spaceman.
I had a family.
See, I knew it. I told you. I dropped the ball on this one a little bit.
Oh, okay. I got. All right.
Junior Spaceman.
I think you should have another one after that. I didn't enjoy that one.
Oh wow! Ouch! Ouch! Okay.
No, just kidding. It was too easy. All right. Apparently, I have a theme. Sorry. All right. Take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
Oh gosh! Darn it!
This is a moment that makes me realize I don't know that there's much point to this game unless you do the cadence. It's kind of the fun part.
No, it's
I get it. All right, because you're usually using it.
It's the Burbs. Take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
Take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
Oh, of course, the Burbs. Yes, of
so
course.
good.
It came to me. All right. Okay, that's cool. I feel like these are going to be 3 easy ones for you. I'm sorry.
Me too. Yeah.
Oh, hi, ma'am.
Oh, hi, ma'am.
Yes.
What?
You know.
Psycho on 2 or what is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, ma'am. It's Home Alone when the...
Yeah,
hi, I'm calling from Paris. I have a son who's home alone.
Oh, hi, ma'am.
Wait, was it something on 2?
We'll send a policeman to your house checking your son.
What's the word? Hyper on 2.
Hyper on 2.
Oh, yeah. How about...
I do. See,
Ready?
these are too easy. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm doing 4. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. I'm doing 4.
And I can edit.
Ready? That was mean.
Yeah. Just reminding you.
Okay, that's not mine. I watched that today, by the way.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Slow.
Oh, sneakers. Are you kidding me? We can't really use anything from sneakers. Well, there's no way.
All right, can I have this is where I put my extra in.
We're
Ready?
gonna go real slow.
right.
Slow.
I'm going to be sick.
No, this is your 3rd one.
No! I told you I'm doing 4.
What was it? What did you just say?
I'm going to be sick. I didn't say it in the full cadence. I'm going to be sick.
Oh man, I can sort of picture the movie, but I can't picture the person.
I'm going to be sick.
Oh, well, that's also
No.
sneakers.
Damn it.
And I'm going to be sick. Oh, see, that's the thing. You forgot the
I did it
I'm is
wrong.
very important in
I'm
that.
going to be sick.
I don't think you can ever come at me with sneakers stuff, neither of us, because we're just going to know
All right,
all of them.
he's a sick man.
Hold on a second. It's my turn.
All right.
Let's see if I can give you one that's a little trickier.
Ew, sounds like you're going to the bathroom.
Oh. Doubly charmed. Patarazis. The cadence
Charmed,
is.
my dear. Double
Oh,
charmed.
wow. You knew the whole thing.
Charmed, my dear. Double
On mic, please.
Oh, charmed, my dear. Doubly charmed. Oh, Rocketeer.
Yep.
When the guy's talking to her and her
W.C. Fields.
her yabos. Yes.
Charmed, my dear.
Charmed, my dear.
And then
Doubly
the
charmed.
camera pans down to her cleavage.
Yes,
Doubly
I got
charmed.
it. All right.
I thought, those were three easy ones today.
I'm giving you this one because it's a giveaway. and
These
you'll
were
see
three
why.
easy ones.
Ready?
Yeah.
He's sick. He's a sick man.
Yeah.
But he's my husband.
Oh, sick. He's a sick. Oh.
He's sick. He's a sick man. But he's my husband.
Oh no, this one's slipping away. I'm just having a mental block with it. I definitely know it.
How interesting.
Well, that's hocus pocus that you're doing.
No, I'm saying how interesting.
Oh.
Oh,
Doesn't she
it
say
is
that?
from
Doesn't she
Hocus
say
Pocus.
that in there?
Yeah, but I was just saying.
He's sick. He's a sick man. Damn
He's
it.
sick. He's a sick
I know.
man.
Yeah, I know. I can hear. I know it. I'm just blocked. I'm blocked on it. He's sick. He's a sick man. Do you hear that in your headphones?
Yeah.
That means the people hear it.
Oh.
Whatever you hear in your headphones, the people are hearing. Damn it.
Would you like to
Sick. He's a sick man. Yeah, give me something. Yeah, give me another something. Give me a hint. He's sick. He's a sick man.
What about Harold? Different person, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Joshua.
I know. I know it. I know it, and I just am.
I don't think I've ever called you Joshua in my life.
No.
That was weird. Joshua.
What about Harold?
He has Josh and Joshua.
What about Harold?
But I don't have Jessica.
Harold.
Just have Jessi or Jess. Oh, by the way.
How do I not know this? I do. I know. I thought this was going to be 3 easy ones today, and I just bit it.
Sick. He's a sick man. But he's my husband. I have a confession. I'm not one of your guests here tonight. I came here for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah.
To beg Arthur to lend us some money.
Oh my God! It's from freaking Arthur. Holy crap!
You were too close to it.
I think that's
see
probably
that
why.
now.
I think that's probably why. Because
That was
they're in the stables.
messed up.
They're in the stables. He's a sick man. Of course. Oh,
Yeah.
you kind of did
Ouch.
some weird psychology on me
That was
there.
messed up.
That's Arthur.
That was real messed up.
What about Harold? Yeah.
You know,
You poor dear.
Oh, you poor dear. Wait. I'm only going to say
I
her
feel
name.
like such an idiot.
I'll tell you this later.
I'm such a fool. I've been fooled.
I'm going to write a note down. Hold
Okay.
on.
Write yourself a note while we say, you know what we did too? Hi, I'm Josh Cook. One of these days, I'm going to remember to introduce ourselves.
I'm Jessi. I'm Jessi Cook.
How about this? How about we do it now and I'll maybe edit it to the beginning.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Josh Cook.
And I'm Jessi Cook.
Although maybe we should do
That
that when we
sounded-
do Adam's Family too.
That was real sad.
Values, I mean.
That was terrible.
And don't we just hate that? Oh, no, we don't.
I'm Becky Martin Green.
Yeah, so that's Arthur, which is an amazing movie and so incredible. And my gosh,
Yes.
I'm going to be back in a whole cycle of quoting these lines again and again and again.
I want to say a special
I'm also going to have to watch everything Gielgud was in ever.
rest in peace to Dudley Moore and that guy you
Steve
keep
Gordon.
mentioning. Yes,
the
all of
writer
them.
director.
No, I meant
Arthur.
Is it Gielgud? That's the one I
John
forget.
Gielgud.
All of these wonderful people who made just such a lovely movie. And while you're at it, watch 10
Yeah, I'm excited.
and enjoy Dudley falling down a very large hill.
Excited to talk about 10 one of these days.
So many good ones. What's another amazing film? Oh, he's in that weird Christmas movie we should get into at some point.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah, we saw. Oh, yeah, we saw it. John Denver's in it. Although I don't know if that's the same movie. But whatever.
Okay.
Love Dudley.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Join us again I wish I was quick enough to think of an arthropod right there, but I certainly didn't.
This is a goner.
This is a goner.